What's up guys, it's T-Chart. Let's look at more of your guys' Scarlet and Violet DLC theories. I have a bunch of ideas of my own, but I want to focus on your guys' ideas this episode. Here's one from Speedlight. So obviously in the last episode, we talked about the idea of the Blueberry Academy shown in the DLC being evil. Because the second DLC is what Terapagos is the face of. So somehow, Terapagos and Blueberry Academy, they go together and something unravels with them in the DLC. I have a theory about Blueberry Academy. So about the idea of Blueberry Academy being evil. What if Blueberry Academy is run by the other professor? Stop, man. Stop. Okay, so what we know in Scarlet and Violet, in the books, it shows that depending on if you play Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, Turo or Sada mentions that the other parent walked out when Arvin was just born. The question has always been, is that other parent still Sada and Turo? Is there a Sada and Pokemon Violet that wanted nothing to do with Turo? His idea is, what if the other professor, when they walked out, they're actually involved with Blueberry Academy? See, since the games are split, we see Turo wearing future clothes and Sada wearing past clothes, but we don't know when they're together if in the Pokemon Violet timeline, if both of them were interested in the future, and in the Pokemon Scarlet timeline, both of them are interested in the past, or if it's because they're interested in different time periods that they split in the first place. But here's why I like this idea, right? Let's say that they're actually not interested in the same time period, and so Sada is always interested in the past, and that's why she walks away. So now she goes to Blueberry Academy, and she still ends up developing a time machine that can pull out Pokemon from the past, even in Pokemon Violet. And I'm saying this because if you go to the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Pokedex entries, the opposite game's Pokemon are still given proper entries, except it says they were found in a mysterious journal or magazine. And then we know something about some occult magazine that also seems to have spotted some of these Area Zero Pokemon. What if the reason the opposite version's Pokemon have an entry and for some reason are known in the wrong version's game is because the other professor is in Blueberry Academy doing it still? Now, of course, there's one downside to this, which is that there's only a Scarlet book or a Violet book. He only saw past or future Pokemon. So how the other professor could... I don't know. Let's keep reading. There is a very high chance that both professors are talented, not just the main one for your game. We also know that they walked out. This could be what they were doing. They can still be alive. So since Heath only could have written one of the books, maybe it'd be cool if each game really does just focus on the past or future. And if you're playing Violet and you go to the DLC, you actually see Sada in Turo-like clothes. And then Turo in... I don't even know what that would look like. I guess this guy. I don't want to see it, man. I take it back. Nah, don't make him look cool, bro. They can't screw that up. Hey, yo, guys. I spent like an hour on Photoshop. Yo. I realized that if they were to do this to Turo, the sucker would just be shirtless. That's the only way they'd keep that handsome touch. This is exactly what past Turo would look like. Alright, now that the vision is set, it needs to happen. We need to run into the other professor and they're dressed the wrong way. I'm glad no one could see me. It would be interesting because the original Sada and Turo of our games has discovered a lot. They already found some Pokemon with this hexagonal shell. They made the Tera Orb off it, and they figured out enough about the shells to make a bunch of inventions. AI, time machine. It would seem like the other professor was there when they discovered all this. So if there's ever one other person in the world that knows what our game's professor knows, it would be the other one. Right before they walked out. It would make this line here a lot cooler. So what if after the first expedition to Area Zero that the professor was a part of, what if the other professor was there too, learned about the Tera Crystals and their power, and as the before mentioned theory said, used it to power the academy? Oh shoot. Okay, the theory they're talking about is what we talked about last episode, which is that Blueberry Academy discovered how to use the crystals too in some way and are using it to run the academy underwater, and they're like trying to mine for something or learn more about Terapagos. But they're saying instead of it being some random person who's running Blueberry Academy, then maybe right now the other professor is running it. They should do it with a mask on. They should be very covert about it. I don't want the world to know, oh yeah, Turo, yeah, he's still alive, he's over there. Imagine Arvin finally gets over his missing one parent. We go to the DLC, it all starts again. But yeah, the AIs that we have in the game don't tell us anything about Terapagos. It would be pretty sick if you learn about it from the other professor. in Blueberry Academy. Let's go to the next theory. All right, here's Ant Socks. So they touch up on Blueberry Academy being called a sister school. There's simple ideas like they might just share the same resources or might split responsibilities to our school and Blueberry Academy. One idea he brought up that could sound cool is the idea that someone is atop both Blueberry and our school, running them both, and that's why they're sister schools. So for example, we know our school, you can take a bunch of courses on history, biology. So if you're doing normal stuff, you go to Uva Academy, but if you're studying Pokemon battling, they'll say go to the same school but for Pokemon battling, which is Blueberry Academy. A couple things I saw you guys mention is what if Gita's from the Blueberry Academy, since she's dressed all professional? Or what if these two are Gita's like nephews or something? I don't know where these ideas come from. One thing I do wonder is, can I meet Nemona's sister in the DLC? I have a couple words for her. All right, next one is from Light88. This one is pretty cool. So going back to the 6-letter name Sada and Turo found, there's two sides to this argument. Obviously, when Heath had smudges in his book and the name was censored, the boxes could represent multiple characters. But since Game Freak intentionally put this 6-letter name, you would assume that it's accurate. But it could go either way. So just for now, let's pretend that the letters are accurate and it is 6 letters long. Light has a cool idea. So to fit the 6, 5, and 3-letter conundrum, he actually found a name that can work to fit those letters. And it's a weird name. It's Triton. Now, Triton is the name of a Greek god of the sea, the son of Poseidon. So, the way we look at Terapagos' image in Heat's book, obviously he got the sea on his tail. I mean, if that is Terapagos, which is supported by there being ships. So imagine that this dude is just looked at as a menace of the sea. And obviously, if this is really a giant turtle that's carrying Paldea, he's traveling through the sea. If you were just an outsider in ancient times, you would tell stories about this giant creature sometimes spotted roaming the sea with this giant land on its back. It would work as this mythological creature. Triton is 6 letters long in English and Spanish, which he made by taking the letters that are missing from Heat's page. He came up with 2 other words to fit the name in French and German, Moch and Ondin, and from the other languages missing letters, a Chinese, Korean, and Japanese name. Now, the problem with this is it works for Chinese, but I don't think Pokemon has ever had a name straight up be the name of a Pokemon. They throw a pun on it or something. So if they had wanted to throw like a turtle pun, they would do like Tritol, like turtle. But this is interesting. This is the thought process I was trying to evoke when I was showing the 653 thing. Now, first up, obviously big up to Light because that was fun to look at, but I don't think the letters from the book are gonna match up with the blanks here. But I ain't gonna be the judge of that. Y'all let me know, do you think Game Freak would be creative enough to actually hide its names in the letters they took out of the book? Moving on, let me show you guys some art from V-Trade Art. So the image that Heath draws of Terapagos obviously looks a bit different. No hexagons, a crown instead of that thing on its back. V-Trade Art drew the Terapagos we know to fit Heath's image. Obviously the dude looks chunky, but he's got everything. He's got the symbol up there, the crown with all 18 types, which is the same thing you see on each terrestrialized Pokemon, just without the eyes. And the way these crystals poke out, it fits the image of him being at the bottom of Area 0 and causing those giant crystal pillars to appear. Ooh, Teramax Terapagos. What do you think they would call the terrestrial forms that are very rumored and possible to show up? I don't think it'd be Teramax because that's just the same as Gmax. Maybe just straight up terraform. Like, you know, when you terraform a planet, you change its whole environment. Well, you terraform a man. What? Terraform T-Tar. Alright, I'm gonna close out there. Let me know what you think, guys. Do you think the other professor is alive in our game and might be in Blueberry Academy? And also, how do you think the game can explain why the opposite versions Paradox Pokemon have Pokedex entries in our game, as if someone had seen them? Because it doesn't make sense because Heath never saw them 200 years ago. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'll do another one of these soon. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.